Lagos was bustling as always. The city's energy was always high with the sound of honking cars, traders calling for customers, and people hurrying to their destinations. Among the crowd was Emeka, a young man from a very wealthy family. He was 28 and had everything he could ever want: luxury cars, beautiful mansion, and the promise of inheriting his father's business empire. But despite all the wealth surrounding him, Emeka felt a void he couldn't explain. On one sunny afternoon, Emeka decided to visit Balogun Market. It wasn't something people of his class typically did, but Emeka loved trying out new things. He found himself in the energy of the city's busiest places. As he walked through the narrow, crowded lines, he inhaled the scent of roasted corn mixed with freshly baked bread and fruits. His eyes wandered, admiring the noisy environment. But amidst the chaos, his gaze fell upon a fruit stand. It was small and modest, but the woman behind it caught his attention. She was sorting through a pile of ripe mangoes. Her skin glowed under the sun, and she had the most radiant smile he had ever seen. He watched for a moment, captivated by her grace and the way she interacted with her customers. She laughed, her laughter blending with the market's noise. Emeka felt a beat in his chest. Without thinking, he approached the store. "Good afternoon," he greeted. The young woman looked up. "Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?" Emeka felt his heart skip a beat. "I'm Emeka," he introduced himself, offering a friendly smile. She nodded politely. "I'm Ada. Welcome to my store. Would you like to buy some fruits?" Emeka glanced at the neatly arranged mangoes, oranges, and bananas. "Yes, I'd love to buy some mangoes," he said. Although he wasn't particularly interested in the fruits, he just wanted a reason to keep talking to her. Ada selected the ripest mangoes and placed them in a small bag. "That will be 500, she said. Emeka handed her the money, but he hesitated to walk away. "You have a beautiful smile," he said, and she blushed shyly. "Thank you, sir," she replied, smiling. "Are you new around here, sir?" Emeka shook his head. "Not really. I've lived in Lagos all my life, but I don't come to the market often." He paused, then added, "And please, call me Emeka. No need for sir." Ada laughed softly. "All right, Emeka. It's nice to meet you." They exchanged a few more words before Emeka finally left the store. But as he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had just met someone special. Over the next few weeks, Emeka found himself returning to Balogun Market more frequently. It became his weekend routine, and every time he did, he stopped at Ada's store. At first, it was for a few fruits, but soon their conversations grew longer. They talked about everything, from the busy life in Lagos to their favorite things and places. Emeka learned that Ada was the eldest of four children. Her father had passed away, and she had taken up the responsibility of supporting her family. She had dreams of becoming a teacher, but had to put them aside to help her siblings go to school. Emeka was moved by her story. Unlike many people he knew, Ada did not complain about her circumstances. She was cheerful, hardworking, and determined. Emeka admired her resilience and humility. It was refreshing, and he found himself thinking about her when they weren't together. He brought lunch for the both of them, a meal he had prepared himself. They sat together on a bench as they ate. "You made this?" Ada asked, looking surprised. Emeka nodded. "Yes, I love cooking. It's one of the few things that relaxes me." She took a bite and her eyes widened. "Wow, this is really delicious. You are full of surprises, Emeka." He laughed, feeling a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. "There is a lot about me you don't know yet." Ada smiled, and for a moment they sat in a comfortable silence. Emeka knew his feelings for her were growing deeper, and judging by the way Ada looked at him, he could sense she felt the same. One evening, Emeka's mother, Mrs. Nwankwo, noticed the change in her son. He was happier and seemed to be spending less time at home. She decided to investigate. "Emeka, you have been spending a lot of time outside lately," she remarked during dinner. "Is there something you had like to share with your family?" Emeka hesitated. He had never hidden anything from his mother, but he knew she wouldn't approve of Ada. "I've been seeing someone," he admitted. Mrs. Nwankwo's eyes brightened. "Oh, that's wonderful. I was beginning to worry. Who is she? Does she come from a good family?" Emeka braced himself. "Her name is Ada. She's a fruit seller at Balogun Market." The room fell silent. His mother's expression shifted from excitement to disapproval. "A fruit seller?" she repeated. Her tone was cold. "Emeka, you come from a distinguished family. You have a reputation to uphold." "Mom, Ada is not defined by her background," Emeka argued. "She's kind, hardworking, and intelligent. I love her, Mom." "Love?" his mother shouted. "You don't know what love is. You are blind. That girl will only bring you down." Emeka's father, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. "Your mother is right, Emeka. You have a future in this family's business. You must marry someone who matches our status." Emeka's chest tightened. "I know you both want the best for me, but Ada makes me happy. Isn't that enough?" His mother's eyes hardened. "You will end this relationship, Emeka, or you will have to choose between her and your family." Emeka felt the weight of his parents' words, but he wasn't ready to give up on Ada. He left the dinner table, looking sad. The next day, Emeka met Ada at their usual spot. She could sense something was wrong the moment she saw his face. "Amy, what's going on?" she asked with concern. He took her hand, his eyes filled with pain. "Ada, my family found out about us. They want me to end things." Ada's eyes filled with tears. "But why?" "They think you are not good enough for me," he said bitterly. "They want me to marry someone of our status." Ada pulled her hand away. "I know this would happen. I know we were from different worlds." "No, Ada, it's not like that," Emeka insisted. "I love you and I don't care about our differences." "But your family does," she whispered, "and I don't want to be the reason for you to have issues with them." Emeka's heart broke as he watched the tears roll down her cheeks. "Ada, please." But she shook her head. "I think it's best we end things, Emeka. It will save us both a lot of pain. As Emeka watched her walk away, he felt an ache so deep that he thought he might never recover. Weeks turned into months, and Emeka and Ada lived their separate lives. Emeka threw himself into his work, managing his father's company, but he couldn't escape the emptiness he felt. His friends and family tried to set him up with women of his social class, lawyers, business executives, and even the daughters of senators, but none of them could fill the void Ada had left. Ada, on the other hand, buried herself in her work at the market. She tried to move on, but every time she saw a young couple walking hand in hand, she felt the sting of loss. She missed Emeka terribly, but she reminded herself that it was for the best. After all, what chance did they really have against his family's disapproval? One evening, as Emeka sat alone in his office, he found himself staring at the framed photo of him and Ada that he kept in his drawer. He had taken it during one of their outings to the beach. Their smiles were bright and carefree in the frame. He couldn't take it anymore. He missed her, and he realized he had been a coward for letting his family dictate his happiness. That night, Emeka made a decision. He would no longer let others control his life. He had to find Ada. The next morning, Emeka set out to find Ada. He returned to Balogun Market, hoping to see her at her store. As he navigated through the crowded lines, he felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. But when he reached the spot where she usually set up, the store was empty. Confused, Emeka approached one of the neighboring vendors. "Good afternoon. Do you know where Ada is?" The woman looked up and said, "Oh, Ada. She hasn't been here for a few weeks now." Emeka's heart sank. "Do you know where she went?" "She didn't say, but she mentioned something about her family moving to a different area. Maybe she's selling in another market now." Disappointed but not defeated, Emeka spent the next few weeks visiting different markets across Lagos as he was unable to reach her on phone. He asked everyone who might know her whereabouts, but it seemed like she had disappeared. Each day that passed without finding her made his resolve stronger. He knew he had to find Ada, no matter how long it took. Several months later, Emeka's friends invited him to a wedding in Surulere. He almost declined, still feeling the weight of Ada's absence, but he forced himself to attend because he needed a distraction, and perhaps it would help him reconnect with people. The wedding was lively, filled with music, laughter, and an abundance of food. Emeka tried to engage in conversations with his friends, but his thoughts kept him drifting back to Ada. As he scanned the room, his eyes landed on a familiar face. Standing by the buffet table in a simple but elegant dress was Ada. For a moment, Emeka thought he was imagining it, but as their eyes met, he felt a rush of emotion, relief, joy, and longing. Without thinking, he made his way through the crowd. "Ada," he shouted when he reached her. Ada stood still, her eyes wide with surprise. "Emeka." He smiled, feeling as though a weight had been lifted from his chest. "I've been looking for you everywhere." Ada's expression softened, but there was still hesitation in her eyes. "Emeka, what are you doing here?" "I was invited by a friend, but seeing you here, it feels like fate." Ada lowered her gaze with a sad smile on her lips. I thought we agreed it was best to go our separate ways. Emeka shook his head. No, Ada, I was wrong. I let my family's expectations come between us, and I regret it every day. I love you, and I don't care about what anyone else thinks. Ada's eyes were filled with tears. Emeka, it is not that simple. My family doesn't control my heart, he interrupted. I don't want to live without you. I'm willing to fight for us, for our love, if you will give me another chance. Ada's breath hinged as she searched his eyes. She could see the sincerity in them, and despite the hurt she had felt, a part of her had already held on to hope that they would find their way back to each other. Emeka, I've missed you too, she admitted. But are you really prepared to go against your family's wishes for me? Emeka reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. I am. I've realized that I can't live my life for anyone else. I want to build a future with you, Ada. She smiled through her eyes, and for the first time in months, Emeka felt a sense of peace. Then let's make it work, she whispered. Emeka knew that reconciling with Ada was only the first step. The next challenge was convincing his family to accept her. He decided to face them head on, determined to stand his ground. One evening, he gathered his parents in the living room. His father was sitting in the living room already, while his mother sat with her usual expression. Emeka, what's this about? His father asked, looking at him. Emeka took a deep breath. I want to talk about Ada. Mrs. Nwankwo's face hardened immediately. Emeka, we've been through this before. You know it can't work. And I know it can work, Emeka replied. I love Ada and I want to be with her. I've made up my mind and I need you both to understand that. Emeka, you are making a mistake, his mother insisted. That girl will only bring you trouble. With all due respect, Mom, you don't know her like I do, Emeka said calmly. Ada is not after our wealth. She's the realest person I've ever met. She has a kind heart and she loves me for who I am, not for what I have. His father sighed heavily. And what do you plan to do if we don't approve? Then I will marry her without your approval. I won't give up on her. The room fell silent. Emeka's mother looked shocked, while his father stared at him, measuring his determination. After what felt like an eternity, his father finally spoke. If this is the path you choose, Emeka, we will respect your decision, but know that it won't be easy. Emeka's heart lifted, feeling a glimmer of hope. I appreciate that, Father. I'm willing to face any challenges as long as I have Ada by my side. His mother remained silent for a while, then finally looked at Emeka, her eyes softening just a little. If she truly makes you happy, then we'll try to accept her. With his family's reluctant acceptance, Emeka and Ada's relationship began to flourish. Emeka introduced Ada to his parents formally, and although it was awkward at first, Ada's grace and kindness eventually won over them. She treated them with the utmost respect, and over time, they came to see the value in her character. Emeka's parents still struggle with the idea of their son marrying someone from different social background, but seeing Emeka's happiness slowly melted their reservations. They began to attend family dinners together, and Emeka's mother even started to ask Ada about her fruit business, showing interest in helping it grow. Emeka and Ada's love continued to deepen, and as they supported each other through life's challenges, they laughed, cried, and celebrated the little moments that made their journey special. And though they had come from different worlds, they built a life that was uniquely theirs. A year later, Emeka and Ada stood hand in hand in the altar, surrounded by friends and family. It was a simple yet elegant ceremony, reflecting the love and commitment they had for each other. Emeka's parents, who had once opposed their union, now watched with pride as their son married the woman he loved. As Emeka looked into Ada's eyes, he knew they had fought against all odds to be together. They had faced societal expectations, family disapproval, and their own fears, but their love had conquered. "You are my everything, Ada," he whispered as they exchanged vows. "And you are mine, Emeka," she replied, her voice filled with emotions. Together, they embarked on a new chapter of their lives, ready to face whatever challenges the future held, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything.